With the latest on the statement issued in the last hour or two by the Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh, who says that Hamas accepts a ceasefire proposal that was put forward by Egyptian and Qatari mediators seeking to halt the 7-month-long war with Israel. Well, exact details of that proposal aren't clear. If it does take effect, it's thought it will probably take effect in stages and include the release of hostages by Hamas in exchange for Israeli troop pullbacks. Well, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has now reacted to that announcement from Hamas and says that although the proposal is far from meeting Israel's demands, Israel is going to send a working delegation to negotiate further on that deal. Well, let's get the latest from France 24's Iris Makler, who is standing by for us in Jerusalem. Iris, when we spoke about an hour and a half ago, we didn't have any reaction from Israel. Now we do. We've got reaction from the Prime Minister. We've also got reaction from the family members of those hostages still being held in Gaza by Hamas. Just tell us a bit more about what we're hearing.
Yes, we have reaction also from the Israeli military. What we heard from Israel's Prime Minister is that it's not exactly a response to the deal that Israel proposed. On the other hand, Israel didn't send negotiators to Cairo. And this was the finessed deal with Qatari input, Egyptian input, Washington's input. And now he is saying that Israel will send negotiators to Cairo. And an announcement that's just in my hands, there's also saying that at the same time, Israel will continue with its operation in Rafah, or begin its military operation in Rafah would be a better way to put it. And there is, I understand, a bombardment of eastern Rafah, the area from which civilians were told to leave this morning, evacuated or told that they should evacuate this morning. That area is now currently being bombarded by Israeli military planes. So that's what we're seeing writ large. In terms of an Israeli reaction from the families of the hostages, they've been reiterating what they've been saying all along. Do not squander this opportunity. It may be our last, certainly to see some of the hostages come out alive. There are protests on the streets right now in Tel Aviv. There's really heartfelt cries from these families saying, just make this deal, just make sure you get as many of our relatives out as you can.
Yeah, and I just want to pick up on what you were saying about the situation in Rafah, because, of course, lots of international concern about what happens in Rafah. After all, there are 1 million displaced Palestinians who are seeking shelter there. Earlier in the day, President Biden picked up the telephone and spoke to Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, and said, we assume what he said in previous conversations, which is it would be a mistake to carry out an operation in Rafah. Just with the negotiations happening on the one hand in Cairo and what appears to be some sort of an escalation in Rafah with aerial bombardment, how do we reconcile these two sets of developments happening really simultaneously?
It is hard to reconcile, isn't it? What the announcement of the Israeli cabinet said was that this would keep the pressure on Hamas. But there are people here who say that it simply shows that there are certain elements inside this cabinet that don't want a hostage deal that would come as a result. They don't want the release of hostages as the result of a ceasefire deal. They want to complete the military operation first. And that's always been the tension inside Israel between the military, the people who believe that a military operation in Rafah is what is necessary, that Hamas really must be eviscerated, and between the other people, including military people, who say that can wait, the hostages can't wait. And I guess what you're seeing is Benjamin Netanyahu trying to satisfy both camps, or trying to have the cake and eat it too, and hoping or believing that this will influence Hamas to stick the course. But of course, there's no guarantee of that. It might just become a murkier war or a deeper war than we have seen so far in Rafah.
OK, well, thank you very much indeed for bringing us all the latest on that. Iris Makler in Jerusalem. Thank you.